Hey Spider Nation, welcome back to another episode of Spider-Man's Tangled WebShow. I'm Jonathan, webmaster of SpiderManFanRave.com, and joining me tonight is James. What's going on, James?
Not much. I'm tired. I got a 7-day work, because of the Thanksgiving. So it's kind of busy, and I'm still got 2 more days of it, but whatever. I don't really care. I'm getting paid, right? So, so besides that, I'm crazy people who, not my coworkers, but like customers. We had some really weird ones this week. So besides that, it's been really tiring. Been reading a lot of comics on Marvel Unlimited and stuff like that to basically keep my time. Reading a lot of like 2004, 2005, 2006 stuff. Just mainly just that. Not really much else to talk about this week, really. Thanksgiving was awesome. I had turkey. In fact, I had almost everything that my mom made. And by almost everything, I mean the stuff that I'm not allergic to, I ate.
It seems that James has recovered from the Dino Charge finale from last week.
Oh no, that still pissed me and the whole fandom off. There's still debates. It is that Power Ranger finale's bad, like Megaforce and stuff like that. When the fandom is still a week later, they're not even moving on to hype for the new season and a movie. It's still like fucking Dino Charge, and now there's nuclear fan rage wars going on. Well, at least it's not like Megaforce. Well, Megaforce didn't have the Rangers blow up the planet in the finale. Oh,
God.
Well, they did. The finale had the Earth get sucked up in a black hole because of the Rangers. No matter what shit the Megaforce Rangers did, at least Megaforce and Overdrive and all those other shitty seasons, at least they didn't cause Armageddon. They did something that the villains do.
I'm just picturing like nerds going, at least mine is better than yours. No, mine's better than yours.
Terminator 3, during the ending when they show that shot from space when you're seeing the nukes flying, that's posts on message boards going back and forth about how shitty Dino Charge's finale was.
Alright, but in terms of my week this week, well, I had Thanksgiving as well. I actually hosted Thanksgiving, so that was something that happened. I did not go out Black Friday shopping because I do not believe in Black Friday shopping.
I did not go Black Friday shopping either because A, I had work, and B, I never go Black Friday shopping because that's like a suicide mission.
Yeah, because you see all those videos of people getting trampled all the time, and I'm just like...
I went one time when I was like 18, 19, maybe I was just right out of high school, and I went with a group of friends because we were hanging out that day, and we just went to the store, and I kid you not, two sweet little old ladies were cussing the F-bomb at each other while choking each other over a copy of Dragon Ball Evolution.
Over a copy of Dragon Ball Evolution?
Because their grandkid had it on their Christmas list, I guess.
Oh.
They were literally, one of them went at the other one at the throat and said, "You effing bitch," and like started and they're like in their 80s.
Jeez.
I was standing there, and of course I was still a teenager, so I was just like laughing the whole time. But now looking back on it, I'm like, I was probably a dick. But then I also think, no, they deserved it.
That's hilarious, but also horrifying at the same time. But it's like you see all those videos of people getting trampled, and I'm just like,
it was over Spider-Man, and it was over Dragon Ball Evolution. It wasn't even a good movie.
It's like I would be the person to get trampled. That would be me.
That actually reminds me of another time I went shopping with my friends where we were hanging out at like actually it was Walmart because one of our friends was working there at the time. Yeah, it was. It was our friend who got off at Walmart and he works there. Right now he is because it was like this summer. And we were waiting in the electronics, just walking around looking at video games and stuff like that. And then one of them, like, there's a kid who was going on out and he picked up a copy of the Purge complete trilogy. And he goes, "Mom, Daddy, get this. This looks cool." And the dad goes, "No, you won't like it. It's a scary movie. Put it away." And my friend goes, "What great parenting. He didn't buy his 5-year-old kid a horror movie set." I go, "Yeah, what great parenting. He didn't buy his kids The Purge. Those movies fucking suck."
All right, but what are we talking about in terms of Spider-Man this week? Well, there's no new issue of Amazing Spider-Man. There's no new issue of Clone Conspiracy.
Thank God.
Nothing's... Yeah, we don't have to put up with that for another, 11 days?
It's the chain... I'm going to call it the chain... It's the generation chain of cloning. You see fans who grew up in the 70s on podcasts and stuff like that, who shit on the 70s Clone Saga. Then you go to fans online who grew up in the 90s and other podcasts and web shows that shit on the 90s Clone Saga. Now here's me and John, people who got into Spider-Man in the 2000s, shitting on the third Clone Saga. So it's like this chain of generations of cloning shitting on it.
It's like Albert Einstein used to say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And
That's that could sum up Miles Warren and Dan Slott right now with doing the Clone Saga again.
I was just going to say it sums up generations of Marvel creators, at least the past two. The first one, I'll give them, all right? It was the first time. But the second and third time, it's on them.
It's really sad that we got to call the Clone Saga now the second Clone Saga. Epic. Now we got to. That was plotted in actually a different time in comics. It's almost like it has an excuse. It was the 90s where everything was an event. It had to be holographic covers and new number ones and all that stuff. It was literally Batman broke his back and Superman's dead. We got to do something with Spider-Man. What do we got to do? Robot parents. Okay, that's not working. We got to do something else. We got to figure out a year-long event that we can milk. Like they did to get sales. The clone. Okay, do it. So I kind of forgive them because I was at a time in comics where they were like throwing things and seeing what stuck and what sold. Now you don't really got that excuse because people saw what happens.
All right, but we are not talking about that this week. Instead, we're continuing on from last week with our review of Mark Millar's Marvel Knights Spider-Man run, and this time we're looking at the second arc, which is issues 5 through 8, which is titled Venomous. And James, can you guess which villain Spider-Man will be going up against in this arc?
The Living Brain?
No, James, actually, it's the Looter. That classic villain.
John, why would you even bring up the Looter? It's obviously Disco Hustler.
I thought it was the Ringer.
Who's the Ringer? Oh no, it's Bart Hamill because he's got your shit.
No, actually, it's Paper Doll from Brand New Day. Even though
even worse, it's Freak. Do you remember Freak? Of course you don't.
Remember the vomiting vulture?
I do because the Clone Saga. Because he was introducing who is Ben Reilly. Wait, no, that wasn't him. That was Rapture, wasn't it? That was somebody completely else.
All right.
God, how many shitty villains was there during the Brand New Day era?
Pretty much.
Because that was their whole initiative of that era. We're hardly going to use the classics. We're going to create our own characters. And like only one of them stuck, and that was because they were a Dan Slott villain, and that was negative.
All right, but Marvel Knights Spider-Man issue 5 through 8. Writer Mark Millar, penciler Terry Dodson on issues 6 and 7. Artist on issues 5 and 8 is Frank Cho. Inker Rachel Dodson. Colorist on 6 and 7 is Avalon's Ian Hinnon, and issues 5 and 8 is Laura Martin. Letters, VC's Corey Petit, 5, 6, and 7 with Chris Eliopoulos on issue 8. Assistant editor Warren Simmons. Editor Axel Alonso. Marvel Knights Spider-Man number 5. We got a cover of Spider-Man going up against Doc Ock with Mary Jane lying on the ruins of a car.
Badass.
So the issue opens with, you know how when you go to the airport, there are those people who get the car service for them? Well, Venom, Eddie Brock, decided to get that for himself. And instead of putting Eddie Brock or anything else, the guy just puts Venom on the sign. Which if I was like an airport person and I was just walking by, I would run immediately because I'd be like, holy shit, Venom's in this airport. Should someone like call the police or something? But also,
it's there because it's obviously there. It's for the readers, for the people who are just jumping on Spider-Man, which this book was planned to be. It was a jump on, point. They were like, oh, people probably might not know who this villain is. We got to outright say it's Venom.
But also, I do feel the need to point out that I want to know the backstory of Mike McSwiggan. I don't know who that is, but I want to know that person's backstory.
He's Marvel Knights. You got to put that at the beginning of it.
Marvel Knights Mike McSwiggan?
To tie in with the superior Aiden Blaine.
Marvel Knights Mike McSwiggan and the superior Aidan Blaine, the best buddy comedy to ever have been thought of. All right, but I want to know who that character is because that's a great name. But so Eddie Brock sees the Venom sign. Is this some kind of joke? Are you trying to get a rise out of me or something? No way, Mr. Brock. It's just they told me your real name was still secret, so I thought this might seem like a clever double bluff. And basic Eddie's just like, shut the fuck up and just give me what I want. No sense making my last few days on Earth any more unpleasant than they have to be, right?
Last few days.
Yeah, that is once again, like we mentioned last week, Marvel Knights is kind of a unique entity where it's hard to place it into continuity. This is especially one of those things.
Well, actually, it could fit into continuity because for the longest time, the status quo was Eddie is days away from dying with cancer, only for him to get anti-venom that cures his cancer.
Yeah, so we go back to the Parker apartment, and Peter Parker wakes up from a coma that is revealed to have lasted 2.5 days, and he wakes up and he's like, what happened? How long have I been out? 2.5 days, believe it or not. Move over and give me a little room here, huh? And so Mary Jane and Felicia Hardy are both sitting on the bed. They're trying to explain to him what happened. You know, Felicia shows Peter the newspaper article of Spider-Man unmasked, and he sees the picture, and Peter's like, oh my God, where did they get this? Or, oh God, where did they get this? I don't know, somebody at the hospital, I guess. I'm finished. The secret's out. We're going to have to leave the city, Mary Jane. We're going to have to get out of here before every lunatic in a pair of tights comes after us. And Felicia's like, you know what, Peter, calm down. They can't tell it's you. Your face, is completely distorted because of the beating you took. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And so Mary Jane's like, look, nothing has happened in the 2.5 days that you were out. No new developments. Nothing is going on. Felicia says, Felicia's like, take it easy. You'll get through this. Even the Owl says he's going to keep an eye out for your missing persons as a thank you for helping us bag Electro and the Vulture. And she and Peter get in an argument about how she's working for the Owl and everything, and Mary Jane breaks it up. And so Felicia leaves for a meeting with a stoolie, and she's like, he knows everything going down around town, so I'll call you if he comes up with anything. So Mary Jane sends her out the door, and Peter just looks at her, and Peter looks at Mary Jane. He doesn't say anything as she's like resting her head on the doorway, and he says, please don't look so sad, MJ. Please don't look like Black Cat and I have so much more in common than you and I do. I'm a high school geek who keeps his book collection in alphabetical order, for God's sake. You're a supermodel who is, and always will be, way out of my league. And so Peter gets out of bed, he finally eats something, and he and Mary Jane they start trying to figure this out. They're trying to figure out, what to do about the situation, who could have possibly taken Aunt May, who knows the secret identity, things like that. But before they can make any sort of decision, they get a phone call, and it's from the credit card company. And it's basically like pretty much the worst credit card company call you could possibly get, as if there is a good one, though. And they're like, yeah, you've been ignoring our final demands. According to our computer, we've sent you 6 letters in the last 8 weeks concerning credit card debts amounting to almost $25,000, sir. If you had replied to these letters, we could have worked out a repayment plan, but I'm afraid this matter is out of our hands and has been passed to our attorneys for a retrieval. And so Peter acts like pretty much the stereotypical person whenever you talk about credit card company phone calls, and he just kind of loses his shit, and he's like, where's the number for that bank? I'm going to call the manager now and go absolutely... What's up, MJ? Something wrong? I think you and I need to have a serious talk, Peter. So they go out to the park, and they talk about how Mary Jane, she was owed a lot of money from some like plays that she was in, but the companies went under, and so basically she didn't get paid, and basically they've been thrown into massive amounts of debt, and they're like, and Peter just gives her the speech of, we'll get through this. So later that night, he goes out as Spider-Man. He's thinking about the situation, trying to figure out who took Aunt May. He helps a guy. He lifts a guy's car so that the guy could make some repairs or something. And he's like, You think this ever happens to Captain America? You know, throwing back to what he used to say in the 60s, like, I bet Captain America never has to do this, or I bet the Fantastic Four doesn't have this problem.
I bet Punisher never has to deal with this. It's Marvel Knights, so I gotta mention Punisher because it's dark and edgy. That's not what happens, but I'm saying that's what it would be hilarious if you go, I bet you Punisher doesn't have to deal with the credit card bill versus guns.
So Peter's spider sense goes off, and so what does he do? He throws the guy's car! And it's just like...
You get what it... John, you do get what it's a reference to, right?
No, I'm not understanding this reference.
It's a Doc Ock issue in 2004, and there's a car flying. That scene from Spider-Man 2, the coffee shop.
I feel stupid now. Thank you, James. All right, but so at that moment, who do we see? But it's Doc Ock, and you know it's Doc Ock in 2004 because he's not wearing a shirt, and his tentacles are fused to like his abdomen portion or whatever, and they're trying to channel the Alfred Molina look or whatever.
Which is funny when people go, Marvel, all they do nowadays is write for the movies. And it's like, did you not read, like, 2004, where, like, every issue was, like, a, like, Doc Ock, you know, mini-series about his origin, or an ultimate arc with Doc Ock, or, this.
So, Doc Ock's going on a rampage, and Peter's thinking to himself, this is kind of weird. Doc Ock usually isn't the guy for like the psychopathic stuff. He doesn't usually act this unhinged, and so he manages to take him down. But he notices that there are like some kind of darts in his back, and he's like, "What the hell is that in your back?" Attention! Step away from the prisoner. Stand back, or we open fire. This is a special police operation. Oh, you gotta be kidding me! And so basically, the police are like, "Yeah, he was our prisoner, and he would have gone down pretty easily if you hadn't pushed him so much. It was because of you that he got that big adrenaline rush." And then, what do the cops decide to do? They decide to collect on the $5 million reward that J. Jonah Jameson is offering for Spider-Man's identity, which I just remembered I forgot to mention earlier in the recap. But yeah, J. Jonah Jameson put a $5 million price to anyone who can reveal Spider-Man's identity. And so the cops decide to collect on that. And so the issue ends with them saying, "Get him!" And they're trying to tear Spider-Man's mask off. But we move into issue 6 as soon as I drink water.
And here comes John's sponsorship. I gotta go back from. I'll be back in a second.
Pure Aqua Spring Water. If they would ever like to sponsor us, they don't actually sponsor us. But if they would ever like to, even though I have never contacted them, and probably never will, because I never think about it after this show, but if they would ever like to sponsor us, we could work something out. Pure Aqua Spring Water. It's wonderful. And look, we're not sponsored by them, but if they would like to sponsor us, I'd be okay with it. But Marvel Knights Spider-Man number 6. So Spider-Man basically, he sees the police officers attacking him, and he throws them off of himself because he's like, you know what? I really don't have to put up with this, and I'm not in the mood today. So I'm just going to swing away, and I'm not going to deal with it. So later, I'm not sure if it's the next day or what it is, but he and Mary Jane are out at basically just a restaurant or a diner or whatever. And they're talking about what had happened. They're talking about what had happened the night before. And she's like, "Somebody tried to get your mask off 5 times in a single night. It's this big cash reward the Bugle's talking about. Seriously, Jonah's going to have to call this off before someone gets really badly hurt. Like you mean?" "Exactly." So they're talking about, if Peter got any pictures, and he says he's going to go around and, he's going to talk to Jameson in person. And, so Peter heads over to the Daily Bugle, but before he shows up, we see J. Jonah Jameson walking into his office, and who does he see? But Spider-Man! "Mr. Jameson? Holy jeez, what the hell are you doing in here?" "I'm here for the money, sir." "What?" "Well, I'm kind of tight for cash right now, and I figured if anybody deserved to make a little dough from my secret identity, it might as well be me, right?" "Are you serious?" "Everybody sells out sooner or later, and let's face it, man. Fighting the lizard and stuff don't exactly pay the bills, right?" The name's Otis Kincaid, Mr. Jameson, and I'm the credit controller over at Marsh Insurance Brokers. You have no idea how good it feels to get that off my chest after all these years. Security, in my office right away, boys. We got another Fruit Loop dribbling on the carpet. And so Peter's like, this happened much? Only about 10 times a day. But he's got to be the shortest one we've had so far. Boy looks more like Ant-Man than Spider-Man. And so...
because it wouldn't be a Spider-Man comic that's calling back to the Golden Age without a reference to Ant-Man. Because for some reason, Peter thought he had to be envious of Ant-Man for whatever reason.
So Peter goes in, he's like, hey, Jonah, why didn't you run my picks? Oh, because your picks suck, Parker. Crap, mega crap. Spider-Man 1 reference. But then
No, John, I didn't even get that.
Then John Jameson shows up, and so John Jameson shows up, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to be going back to the Air Force. I'm going to go up in a plane again, and so yeah, it's going to be pretty cool." Oh, that's nice. Listen, Parker, look, I know you and the wife got debt problems right now, so how about I give you $500 for this shot of Spider-Man slipping in some dog mess here, And so Peter's like, huh? Oh, yeah, it's the front page headline tomorrow, don't you know? So, and Jonah also reveals that there were some Oscorp break-ins over the past 24 hours, and he also reveals that the donation of the $5 million that he's actually putting up as the reward for Spider-Man's identity was donated by an anonymous billionaire. So Spider-Man decides to pop over to Norman Osborn in his prison cell again. And I'm not going to read this conversation verbatim because I don't think it's as worthy of it as the last one was. Basically, let me sum this up for you. Let me just sum this up for you. Hey Norman, I need a favor. Do you know what happened to my aunt? Peter, let me tell you about the last guy who asked me for a favor. Let me tell you about what happened to his wife. So Peter asks him like if he can help him with this situation, and so Norman tells him this story about how he basically poisoned the wife of this prison guard who was nice to him because he's like, why should I ever help someone who keeps me locked up? And so it's like the most screwed...
Is it Jenkins?
So it's like, it's the most screwed up thing. It's really, really screwed up. It's really terrifying. But it's like...
Yeah, but it's the Green Goblin.
Yeah, so it's...
I'm not saying it as a pass, like, or anything for what he did. I'm just saying, this is really tame for Marvel Knights. The whole fact he just poisoned somebody.
So Spider-Man swings over to Xavier Institute. He's like, you know what? It's time. I decided it's time I paid a visit to a psychic. So he goes there. He speaks with Rachel Summers, or a Marvel Girl, and basically she is able to tap into what happened when Aunt May was taken. She sees that it was pretty violent, and she says, "I'm not sure you want to hear this, Spider-Man. Please, just tell me what you're seeing here, Rachel." "I think your Aunt May's dead." Dun, dun, dun. To be continued.
And instead, it's just another hint of where she actually is.
All right, James, but, well... Oh, wait, no, I completely forgot. I don't know why I just did that, because there's actually more to this issue. I don't know why I just...
Yeah, why did you do that? You're missing the whole Eddie Brock thing.
I don't know, it's been a long day. I'm sorry, viewers, it's been a long day for me. Oh my god, I don't even know how I missed that.
Because Bear won.
I don't know what James just said because I didn't hear it, but I feel like it's something I didn't want to hear. But,
it was a joke. It was like, spoiler, Bear won. It's a reference to Revenant, the movie. Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio on the bear.
I have not seen that.
Spoiler, Bear won.
I've not.
You were about to tell the ending. I'm like, spoiler alert, Bear won.
But
the bear mauled him.
But so yeah, there's a supervillain auction going down. And so a lot of supervillains are there. They're, and what's the auction? What is the auction for? Well, Eddie Brock is auctioning off the Venom symbiote for charity. And so whoever bids the most gets to become the new Venom. And so that is where the issue ends. Dun, dun, dun. The second time.
And it's one of the weird things that Marvel has actually stuck to. Eddie Brock has not been Venom since then.
All right, but James, we'll start with you. What do you think of Marvel Knights Spider-Man number 5 and 6?
They're pretty good. They're continuing the trend. You see, like, it still fits into like the Spider-Man world, but it starts to tilt, a little bit towards more edgy. Like the whole fact that the cops are not just like, you're a menace for bringing you in. No, it's a whole bunch of cops ganging up a guy that just a few days ago was in a hospital bed mutilated. Like, it's still got that more brutal Marvel edge thing that I really kind of like with the story right now. Issue 5, I gotta say it. It was just pretty much the obligatory movies coming up. We gotta promote the movie by promoting also the comics. So here's a Doc Ock storyline where he looks just like, the Alfred Molina, and he's throwing cars around, just like that scene in the movie. Because we gotta tie it into that movie. But I do like that issue how there's a blink and you miss it Superman cameo, where it's when they're fighting for the city in the window. There's Clark Kent, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, like looking at from the Daily Planet, and there's a note on there that says Clark story better begin by whatever Perry, and then the Superman logo. It's either this issue or issue 4. It's one of the two, but there's a blink and you miss it reference to Superman, where it's literally the Daily Planet is in the MCU according to this.
I don't see that. Where's that?
Is it? It's this issue, right? Or because I reread the whole thing. Maybe it's issue like 4 or 6.
I'm trying to find it. I'm not seeing it, James.
Well, that's weird. I'll try to find later on the show after I do my recap. Because it's somewhere in that run. There's a reference to Superman. Maybe issue 4.
I don't know. You keep going with your review. I'll track down this Superman reference.
It's them in a window looking out, seeing Spider-Man web swinging, and it says Perry, and it's got clearly Superman, but whatever, it's just not a Superman podcast. It's really good. I love it how they do the one thing that I really liked about the Peter and MJ relationship that went on throughout the whole, like, before One More Day air when they were married, like, all the way back to when they first got engaged or were getting steady enough to get married, I guess you could say, where it's the whole, they're meant for each other, and the Parker Luck thing where he doesn't think he deserves her because how the hell did nerdy Peter Parker get a supermodel? And she thinks that she doesn't deserve him because he's a superhero. He's like a god among men with his powers and abilities. And he hangs out with, Captain America and Iron Man as Avenger every week, So I do like that. That was one thing I was loved about the relationship. They both didn't think that they deserve each other when they're actually like meant, for each other. And they're each other's whole world until One More Day fucked that whole up. But that's not neither here nor there. I really like that nod. There is some really, like Black Cat things that are weird. I think in that issue where the artist is like, well, it's Marvel Knights, so we can show a little bit more cleavage on Felicia. Yeah, I'm just hanging out with my ex-boyfriend and his wife. I'm going to wear enough that you almost slightly see a nipple, maybe. Because remember, this is the Phil Jimenez era of Marvel, where it's like, who cares? They're just adults jerking off to our comics anyways. Literally, exact quote from the guy. He said that it was either about Jessica Jones and the Max or Elektra and Ultimate, but he outright said when people said, aren't you sexualizing them too much now? And he goes, who cares? They're all just adults whacking off to them anyways.
Wait,
and he got fired for that. He got fired for that.
Wait, was this an actual quote, or is this something you're making up, James?
No, look it up. It was something like that. He actually said something like that. I think it was about Electro in, like, Ultimate, or maybe it was Jessica Jones in the Max series, but he said something like that.
Okay, that's disturbing.
I know!
That's a disturbing image, and...
It's hilarious, because he's ignoring the fact that you had, like, 13, 14-year-olds like me that were jumping into comics at this time.
Okay, I'm like, completely disturbed right now. So I'm gonna.
But anyways, yeah. But you got that stuff. It's Marvel Knights. I guess it can be forgiven. And, showing a little bit more. Skin. Sell the book. You got that stuff. The Doc Ock fight wasn't really much, and I do find it appears like Doc Ock. This is weird even for him. And this is the guy who one day later on will implant his brain in the living brain.
And we'll have the AI of Anna Maria and have the Jackal going, brother. It's
strange.
That's weird
because Peter's basically saying when he sees Doc Ock acting like Spider-Man 2, he's like, dude, that's fucked up. Jackal, 12 years later, when Anna Maria's like, dude, that's fucked up. It all goes full circle.
It's like, as we've said before, when you're freaking the Jackal out, you got some problems, dude.
Yeah. So you got that. I like this. The Eddie Brock stuff. It's you got to give Marvel credit for a comic book company that's famous for the status quo always has to go back. Aunt-May, you take one step forward, and it always has to, like, in 10 years, take 5 steps back again, you know? Putting the toys back in the toy chest when your run's over, so that way it goes back to the status quo for the new writer, who wants to go back to the nostalgic days, you know, that kind of thing. And you gotta give them credit. Eddie hasn't been Venom. He's been anti-Venom, but we're on to, what, the 5th Venom now? Since he's stopped being it?
I don't know. I don't know what Venom we're on.
Because they're the guy who... They're just Antonio, or where the fuck he is in this arc. Spoiler alerts. There's Matt Gargan, Flash, and then there's the new guy. So yeah, it's about 4. I can't remember if there's one more in between there, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, that's really good. Like I said, the Jameson part is classic Jameson and the Bugle. Like, I still remember when I first read this, how it's like, you at first maybe think, is it because Peter says, I'm going to go talk to Jonah, that maybe it's him be like, oh, I'm going to collect on it, and then Jonah's like, well, if you're going to collect on it, then you can forget the whole thing and rip it up or something like that. But no, it just turns out to be like the 10th whack jobs who walk into the office just of Spider-Man, and then Peter's there talking to Betty like, who's that guy? As he's being dragged out of the office. And he's like the 20th guy to walk in the day claiming he's Spider-Man and want to cash the reward. That is like classic Jonah in a nutshell.
Another Spider-Man 2 reference. Don't tell me you have the head of an extraterrestrial in there, because if you do, you're the 3rd guy this week.
It's something that you're surprised never happened more, like in Spider-Man No More, where the kid brings in, or tied in Spider-Man 2, where it's the garbage guy, and he brings in the suit. Jonah, I'm surprised he's not like, yeah, you're like the 10th guy to give me a Spider-Man costume that clearly said Party City on the back of it, but whatever. But yeah, you got that, and I just like it too because it's, you know, it's like you said, it shows like all these different villains and how they're connected together, and I like how the plot is continuing. And the Aunt May thing is, I like it too, how she's dead, and you see her next to that tombstone, which again is actually a hint about how this arc wraps up. So I like that.
All right, James. So any other thoughts? And do you give these 2 issues thumbs up, sideways, down?
I think I said everything I wanted to say about those 2 issues, so I'll just end it by doing this. Thumbs
okay.
up.
I did find the panel that James was talking about. It was in the 4th issue. Trying to hold it up to the screen there. I don't know if you can see it, but there is like a little tiny thing with an S on it in there, and there is a guy with glasses and
the note says, Clark, I need the paper today, and it's from a Perry, which is the name of the editor from in the Daily Planet.
It says, don't forget to capitalize or whatever, and yeah, it's from Perry, so...
And then there's Joey, Jimmy Olsen, and Lois Lane.
Yeah, so that was in issue 4. So I did find that.
They're actually in the Marvel Wiki, and it's actually a guy named Clark Kent, and their caption is just a There's a reporter who lives in New York City named Clark Kent. No relation to the other guy. He has no superpowers. And under this appearances, they got all these things, and Marvel Knights is also listed here. So it's just hilarious. Marvel's legal way around it is just don't confuse him with the other guys. He's just a guy named Clark Kent who works at a newspaper with a girl named Lois Lane and a guy named Jimmy Olsen. Wink, but he's totally not the other guy.
But my thoughts on these 2 issues is pretty good. These are pretty good comics. My favorite part of both issues is the Peter MJ stuff. This is, in my opinion, some of the best marriage writing we've ever seen. Just this whole scene, especially this panel, which, you know, I read it before, you know, please don't look like Black Cat and I have so much more in common than you and I do. It's just, I think that's perfect. That's such great writing.
There's a reason why this era, like that era in between where the Mackie Byrne era fucked it up and where Quesada at the end will fuck it up. This little, like, 4 or 5 year period is the best the marriage was ever written, and it was a pretty much exact reason why it was a bad idea to ever end the marriage. Because Marvel Knights hit it out of the park. Jenkins over in Spectacular and Peter Parker hit it out of the park. JMS reinvented the Spider marriage in his run. I mean, like, this was a great era if you wanted to read Peter and MJ.
Yeah, it's so good, and the Peter Felicia dynamic is also pretty solid here. I also love the scene of Peter just like about to lose his shit with the credit card company. It's just like that is the everyman right there. That is what happens when you're a regular person. Is you get angry at credit card companies, whether they deserve it or not. It's just like it's something that happens to everybody, because credit card companies are no fun to deal with. But so I like that. Let's see what else. I just really thought the character work was really solid in this fifth issue. It was just the character interactions, the dynamics, everything like that was really, really on point. The marriage, of course, was the top thing I liked about it. The only thing that I would say I didn't like is that this is my big con of probably this entire 12-issue series, is that I don't really like what they do with Doc Ock. I just don't. I feel it's beneath the character. I feel like it takes away a bit of his dignity. Because Doc Ock is such a famous Marvel, not only such a famous Spider-Man villain, but just such a famous Marvel villain. And having him be controlled and turned into a rampaging monster like this, I think it strips a bit, it strips away a bit of the character. So I don't really like what they do with him here. And that is a big con in my opinion, but it's not enough to like ruin anything for me. It's just something I really don't care for in this arc.
I think it gets saved a little bit once you see what his character motivation is at the end.
I mean that's a topic for the next arc, but issue 6, issue 6, I really love the scene of the guy, like James was talking about, where James walks into the office and it's just like, this is the 10th guy, to come in, 10. This happens only about 10 times a day. This happened much? Only about 10 times a day. I like that. I thought that was funny. I love the Peter Norman conversations because it's just so screwed up in so many ways. It's like, this is perfect Norman Osborn writing, I think. I really love the way Mark Millar handles the character. I think he has a good grip on him. The auction scene at the end it shows Eddie Brock's like screwed up morality, because he's like, look, I know Venom's gonna go and like destroy shit again. So you know what? I'm just gonna give all the money that you guys bid here to charity. And
to the black market are going to use it to try to kill Spider-Man.
And you know what? It's like, I don't know why it's good that he gives the money to charity, but it's like, it just seems so screwed up that he would like actually just auction Venom off like that, because
Brock's a hypocrite. I always said that for years. Brock's a hypocrite.
Yeah,
he claims to be for the innocent, but he's not.
Yeah, it's like, you do this, you give the money to charity, but you still unleash a psychopathic monster on the world. Like, there is one of these things has more significance than the other, Brock. But yeah. But overall, I think these 2 issues are really, really good, really strong. Really good characterization, once again, of Spider-Man. I really like Mark Millar's voice for the character. I think he has a good grip on how the character behaves and how he thinks, how he reacts, and stuff like that. So all of that's pretty good. So I give these 2 issues a thumbs up as well. I think that it's really, really, really good stuff. So we're going to move on here to Marvel Knights Spider-Man at number 7 and number 8, parts 3 and 4 of Venomous, respectively. And James is going to tackle these 2 issues. So James, go ahead, tell us what happens in Marvel Knights Spider-Man number 7 and number 8.
Well, the issue kind of begins kind of weird from when the last one left off, with the Lizard being blinded by the light, as we see underneath the sewer the spider single in his face, and he's looking back on it after he just brutally murdered a couple people, including maybe a woman, and he just happens to be holding her shirt in a way that we can see her bra, because as I mentioned, Marvel Knights, we can show boobies. Marvel Knights means, yay, boobies!
That's the tagline.
And that's the tagline that Mike Quesada said. Spider-Man, yay, boobies! As he started dancing at the office, but get rid of the marriage. So yeah, we start seeing. Oh, sorry, guys, I get a sip of my beer. If Miller Lite wants to sponsor our show, like John, who tries to whore us out to every beverage he drinks, please give us a call at no phone number because we don't have any.
All right.
I had a long day. I have no time to come up with a create a fake phone number, so I just had to end it like that. So yeah, Peter's fighting Lizard as we got like people, rioting in the streets because of Lizard shit. Pretty much, it's like what happened with his storyline later on during Brand Day kind of shit. So yeah, he's fighting the Lizard and he's punching him in the face, and he's like, "Dude, you suck." And then he's like thinking about all the supervillains he's been fighting, recently, like Hydro Man, and Sandman, and Rhino, and the Enforcers. And it's just a reason that we got for cameos of every Spider-Man villain in this arc. Here you go. Hydro Man gets a page. Sandman gets a page. Rhino gets a page. Hey, Enforcers, look under your table. You get a page. It's basically showing Peter going nuts. He's going, gotta find Aunt May. Gotta find Aunt May. Gotta punch every single guy who ever appeared in issue Amazing Spider-Man and robbed the bank ever. So yeah, we see Black Cat. She's doing her Black Cat thing, and she's crouching in sexual poses. Because like I said, with her boobs hanging out, because like I said, Marvel Knights means, yay, we can show boobies. So yeah, Peter's web-slinging looking for his aunt. Black Cat's doing the same shit she's been doing like the last 3 issues, kind of helping him, but also doing the owl shit. Because we need her in the book. Because this was originally going to be a Kevin Smith book, and Kevin Smith likes Black Cat. So yeah, Peter goes into a diner and meets some chick there, and then Spider-Man's like sneaking around in there, like, because he got to go in there, like to change and stuff like that. And she's like, "Hey, restrooms for customers only." And he's like, "Okay, I'll order a pie." And then she starts undressed. He goes, "Not that pie," because Marvel Knights. No, it's not really, but still. But no, she gives her coffee, and they have a small talk, and they chat, and it's, Spider-Man with the people, and it's, really nice, and he's drinking the coffee, and he's enjoying the coffee, and he's like, the best part of beating up thugs is Folgers in your cup. And then, of course, you hear the police sirens, and they're going off because he's Spider-Man, and he has to go stop them, because fuck it.
But James, you forgot the best part. She's the mother of the kid that Vulture was trying to save, because that was the kid with cancer that Vulture was trying to pay for.
I just felt really uncomfortable talking about it.
Okay.
If you want to talk about it, you can.
But that's the important plot detail, because that comes back later, because it's like she's the mother of the kid with cancer that Vulture was trying to save, which will come back again at the end of the next issue. We just thought we should throw that important plot detail in there and not just omit it, James.
Well, sorry, like I said, I'm tired. So anyways, Peter goes back on the internet and goes, "I'm on Marvel Knights. I can look up this stuff because, yay, boobies." No, it's not really.
That's not what he's looking up. Don't worry.
It's a joke, people. He's just looking up, more stuff. Oh, and also don't forget the part that the character are heading to a dead fake Spider-Man. It's a dead fake Spider-Man. Look at what he's wearing.
Yeah, I know. I could see it on the page.
Well, you looked at me like, "James, don't be making up shit." It's weird how no, in fact, he's just thinking of, the website is him thinking about all the floating heads of Bill. And here's the weird one, to the point they put it in bold, because Marvel Knights was in that. Is it in continuity? Is it not? Marvel did the one thing they said they would never do, kind of tying in what's going on right now in the 616 in the main title. Right now in Spider-Man, he names poor Kraven in 4, because 4 just died in Ragnarok. That's 100 in Disassemble. 4 and Kraven and Wolverine and Ezekiel, the Chameleon, and poor old Kane and Ben Reilly. It's like, oh my god, they mentioned the clones. Something that they swore they would never do after the Clone Saga. So anyways, him and Mary Jane are talking. It's, they're having a nice little conversation. It's about, people who died, and, how Marvel Girl said that said that Aunt May may be dead, and he's worrying about her, and they're having their talk, and it's really emotional, and it's really sweet. They're hugging, they're holding each other, they're each other's support because it's their relative, and they both love each other, and they're worried, and they're comforting each other. But of course, there has to be a panel of Mary Jane standing up wearing short shorts and a tank top because, yay, boobies, Marvel Knights. But anyways, no, it's pretty sweet. I love it because he's telling her what's been going on in the last issue. I saw a dead spider kid, paved on the cement. There's a kid with brain cancer that Vulture I kind of prevented, and Marvel Girl told me Aunt May's dead, and she's comforting him, and it's showing again why Mary Jane was the best support, and it's missing from the title right now. So, and it's really sweet. I just love it. Brings a tear to my eye.
All right, James.
But no, as this goes on, we get more shit with, what's going on with Eddie Brock. He's in the same church where the symbiote landed on him, Our Lady Saints Church. Which I always thought was Our Lady Saints of Sorrow, but I guess it's All Lady Saints. I think they flip-flop on it. Yeah. He's all like, well, thanks for the money. Bye. You won't ever see me again because I'm going to die, even though I'm not ever going to die because Marvel would never let Eddie Brock die in a billion years. But yeah, it pretty much says that a mobster kid named Angelino, he won it. And Eddie's like, you're going to die after this arc. And the kid's like, I know. And that's it. That's basically it. The kid's in the church, and Eddie's pretty much like, I guess, passing the torch of Venom. And then we go to the high school reunion, and then Peter's bumping into like, it's like, okay, we can't really have this moment because Flash has seen what Peter has become. Liz has seen what Peter has become. Jessica Jones, who was retconned in later on, seeing who Peter became. So, who does that leave us with? Well, remember those background characters that Stan and Steve didn't even fucking name? Well, here you go. Here's Seymour O'Reilly. Remember that fucker with the O sweater in ASM #1 who only appeared that one time? Well, he found out Peter has a hot wife. Suck it. Here's old teachers who are still dressed up like it's 1962 because they have to tell the readers, that's Miles Warren's brother. There's all these kids who Peter used to bully that we never met before, all jealous because how did Puny Parker, get hot Mary Jane Watson as a wife? Well, all the girls who used to treat Peter like shit wants to get MJ's autograph because irony. I'm sorry, it's just hilarious. Oh, it's like, remember these fuckers who were never there? It is, though. It's like they're doing the high school reunion plot, but it's hard to do that when the main people who were in the high school... It's not like if they did this with the Ultimate Universe. Like, here's Peter meeting up with Kong after all these years, and Flash after all these years, and all the Ultimate characters that went to high school with him. No. Especially after they found out the secret. No, here's 616 Peter meeting all these fuckers who you don't give a shit about. Because they don't exist. And then they're all decided to be dicks to Peter.
This is the best part.
They're all like, how dare Puny Parker actually have muscles and have a career as a teacher in this very school that we're not mentioning and saying he's a photographer, even though he totally has a job as a teacher right now in this very school. And he's best friends with Flash Thompson. And he has a hot redheaded wife. And he's super strong. Time for a wedgie. And Peter's like, Spider says, no, you're fucking not. They're like, time for a wedgie. He's like, no, you're not. And they're like, okay, super atomic mega ultimate mega Armageddon wedgie. And he's like, yeah, let's not say we did. And he starts like just like pushing them off like they're flies. Like, nah. And he's all like yelling at them like, you guys are dicks. And while this is happening, we're seeing Venom, the new Venom web swinging towards the school. And it's kind of weird because if you look at his silhouette, they gave him web pits. When has Venom ever been shown in web pits? It's in between the super mega wedgie and the first wedgie. There's web pits.
No, I think that's actually the shadow superimposed over the window because
it looks like web pits.
Yeah, it does. I could see how you would make that mistake, but I don't think it actually is.
Because it's weird. It's like Spider-Man doesn't have web pits. So why would you give Venom them? But yeah, Peter just pretty much just pointing at him like, "You guys are dicks." And as this is going on, the new Venom decides to be the Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah.
Okay, that is... I will never look at this new Venom the same way again, because that is the creepiest thing I've ever heard.
You know what's so weird? Slot bragged about bringing back every villain back from the dead. Spoiler alerts. Where is, oh yeah, second Venom?
I will never look at this the same way again. Thank you, James. You just ruined this arc for me.
Oh yeah. You know what's funny? Us giving characters and backstory and personalities to characters that never fucking had them. Bart Hamilton, Aiden Blaine, McSwiggy or whatever his name was earlier in this arc.
Mike McSwiggan, I think his name was. Oh man, I forgot it already.
And now Angelino, the son of the crime boss.
It's like Angelo
being the fucking Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah. As he posts to the wall.
Angelo Fortunato. Well, you know what? We gotta give him backstories because no one else did. We're showing we care about these characters.
He kind of has a backstory because we're ripping off Batman Hush, so he has to be the mobster son who has to prove that he's a big man by going after Batman. I mean Spider-Man. But still, it's just I'm sorry. I'm looking at the panel. All I'm seeing it. There's no font balloon, but all I see is oh yeah.
This is the panel that James is referencing. This big panel of Venom breaking through.
And remember, this guy knows to go after Peter Parker because the symbiote told him who Spider-Man was. This is back before they wrote the symbiote to be a fucking moron. And the whole dumbass, I know everything about him, even his darkest secrets. I don't know what the fuck his name is, but I know everything else about him. So yeah, he starts attacking Peter. And then the boys are like, no fair! Why does Peter Parker get attacked by a psychotic symbiote killer? And then pretty much they find out he's Spider-Man. And then Seymour O'Reilly's like, wait a second, Peter Parker's Spider-Man? Because Peter jumps and he does spider sense and he, clings onto a wall. He's like, wait, Peter Parker was Spider-Man? And then he's dead. Like, literally, in 2 seconds he goes, wait, Peter Parker's Spider-Man? And then he gets his nap's neck. So it's like, not only does he find out the guy that he bullied is now super strong, has a career, has a super hot model wife, which has big tits because, like I said, Marvel Knights, yay boobies, who even his own wife is jealous and getting the autograph of, but also, he's Spider-Man, the guy who you guys were part of a fan club with Flash Thompson over. Oh, and you're dead. Fuck you, Seymour O'Reilly, a.k.a. the guy with the O shirt and Amazing Spider-Man #1, who nobody gave a fuck about.
That O stood for oh shit.
Actually, it stands for Seymour O'Reilly. Literally, all the bullies who made fun of him, besides Flash Thompson, are all dead. That's the moral. Peter Parker's bullies are dead. Thank you, Venom. Because they wanted to continue giving him Wedgie to be continued.
Alright, but as we continue on, James, what happens in Marvel Knights Spider-Man #8, Venomous Part 4?
The new Venom is really lame and stupid. He's fighting Spider-Man in the school. Peter at first thinks it's Eddie, but then because of expositions, he finds out, no, it's not fucking Eddie. But I don't know why he would think it was. Because this guy is clearly not Eddie Brock. Because he's shit. He looks cool. Like, I like the Venom design, and it's this kind of design that Gargan would have. And I also love it, too, how this guy is hitting on MJ, and she's like, I'm married to Peter Parker. Who cares? He's Peter Parker. He even calls him, I think he calls him Palmer at one part. And he goes, so, do you wear any red and blue pajamas? And she's like, get away from me. Get the fuck away from me. And then Venom goes punching the wall, and she's like, everybody out of the gym. Everybody go over there. Nothing to see here. Which is getting MJ Roden good. Here she's seeing Peter and Venom going through the fucking gym, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to make sure people can get out of here, and be safe. That way he has one less thing to worry about, besides the fact that every bully he ever had is now fucking dead. Besides, oh yeah, I said I don't know. But I do like it too, how she's being hit on, and she's like, get the fuck away from me. Hey, aren't you the girl who I knew from the class? No, I never went to the school. Fuck you. That's Basically what she's saying, he's the creepy guy who won't take the hint. I'm pretty sure when she's trying to get everybody out with a supervillain fight, he's like, you just want the Quagmeister. Giggity, giggity, goo. Oh, yeah. In my head, it's got
Quagmire. James, yes, you're ruining these issues.
The we gave in new characters. We said Quagmire went to high school with Peter Parker. And now we got, oh, yeah. And then we got McSwiggy.
Oh my god, James, you're ruining these issues for me.
I have to because this new Venom shit. Like, literally, he's getting his ass kicked, and as it turns out, John wanted to know who Mike McSwingen is? Well, it turns out he's a truck driver who works for a gas company.
Wait, what?
It says McSwingen Gas.
Oh my god, I didn't even see that until now!
Which makes me believe that Mike McSwiggan is just a friend of Mike Millar, who he's like, I'm going to put you in the book. Maybe it's the guy who came with the idea of, hey, I want a new Venom. So that's why he's here in the Venomous arc.
Oh, that's not nearly as cool of a backstory.
I like it how there's two supervillains fighting on the road, and he's not going to stop, but then he sees a fucking dog, and he does. He's like, oh, there's two big, gigantic supervillains and a superhero fighting. But I'm just going to keep on driving. Maybe I'll hit them. A fucking dog! No! As Peter saves the dog, which is awesome because it's Marvel Knights and the dog might die. But sad news is the fucking truck driver probably dead in a big explosion. So, yeah, John, I'm sorry, like... Mike McSwingen, rest in peace.
Oh, Mike McSwingen, the character I love, only to have him taken away from me so quickly.
And then there's another truck, and Venom decides to go, I got your shit. He pulls apart Hamilton, because when you're ripping off Bart Hamilton, you're a dick. So he has to throw a car too. And then Peter goes through the windshield and saves the car driver and go, I couldn't save Mike McSwiggan for John, because fuck that asshole, but I saved this other guy, Jamie. So Peter's like, yeah, this new Venom's kind of a dick because at least Eddie had that whole weird innocent thing. And there's even a girl who looks like Gwen Stacy who's like pointing at Spider-Man going, Nate Spider-Man, which I guess is they had to put a Gwen reference.
Yeah, I see that too. She does look like Gwen. She even got the headband and everything.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm thinking it's a Gwen reference. And then, yeah, the new Venom is like, Peter does the whole thing about, okay, I'm on this side of the building, try to get me. And he's like, dude, I came up with something too. I'm going to do it. And then as he makes the jump, in an actual really cool panel, you just see him punch right through Spider-Man. And we get the twist. It's another fucker who's just dressed up like Spider-Man to collect the award, and people were videotaping it. And we can see Venom punch right through the guy's heart. Because, like I said, Marvel Knights, yay, boobies and gore. So Peter's like, yeah, enough of this now. I'm going to beat the shit out of you because some idiot who dressed up like me got killed. So yeah, he beats the shit out of the new Venom, and the new Venom decides to be a little bitch and run away now because he's not winning the fight. And then in one of the classic greatest lines of dialogue ever from the symbiote, when he sees Angelino running away, he goes, sigh, you know what your problem is, Angelino? You just don't have enough Venom. And then the black suit literally says, I'm unbonding to you. Bye! As you get like a Roadrunner moment of Angelino just falling in midair to his death. And that's it for the second Venom. Nobody gave a shit about him. And if you ask any Spider-Man fan, who's the second Venom, chances are they will say Matt Gargan. Because they don't know who the fuck this guy is. And I do like the symbolism, too, as he falls, you see a woman who's buying a melon, and she drops it watching the fall, and you see the melon go splat, and it's a symbolic, nature of, that's Angelino going, and then you get the after shot, that, again, is kind of gory and gross, but it's, gory, and it's more like you get away with it. But then you go to Eddie Brock, who killed himself?
Yeah, and they even described...
Eddie slit his wrist. So he goes, these are my last 2 days because of cancer. So I'm going to slit my own wrist. Spoiler alerts, he's not dead. Because the next time we see him in Civil War, he's in the hospital bed that's right next to Aunt May.
That's a weird play. That's just so convenient, isn't it?
It was convenient. It's almost like Marvel had to put Eddie Brock in a Back in Black book to tie in the fact that Eddie Brock is one of the villains in Spider-Man 3. Literally, he paints himself like Venom, and he goes around like in the hospital killing people to go kill Aunt May, and then he decides to go, she's an old woman, she's gonna die. I won't kill the innocents. Mind all the other fuckers I killed there in the hospital. I'm just going back in my room and be pouting and sad, and people won't see me again the bright day when I'm working with Aunt May.
All right, James.
Awkward.
All right, James, but how does the issue end? I feel like you're going to have fun with this part.
With the moment that I spoiler alert last week or whatever it was, where Jonah has his old school Hitler stash, and he's smiling as Peter goes, here's Jonah, I'm going to collect the award. Here's photo who Spider-Man really is. It's your son with these totally photoshopped images I got of him. And Jonah, despite having all the evidence in the world that his son won't be Spider-Man, because all the time his son as Man-Wolf fought Spider-Man, or Spider-Man in ASM #1 saving his son, which we know is canon because Seymour O'Reilly died in this issue. If Seymour O'Reilly happened, issue 1 happened. Jonah just blindly takes and believes this. And that's how the issue pretty much ends. With Jonah being like, I'm a dick. And then Peter's walking away like, I'm a dick. Floating heads of guilt with Aunt May, Jameson, Venom, and Felicia, and everybody. But this time it kind of fits, because Peter's like, I'm sad. Because I just pretty much threw an innocent man on the bus to save my own ass. But then again, once you see some other stuff that Peter would do from this point on, it's actually in character for him and his paranoid schizophrenia when it comes to his secret identity. This is the guy who'll make a deal with Satan over it a few years later. So this Dr. Photo thing, it's not the worst immoral thing he would do, but his secret.
All right, James, but what happens in the rest of the issue?
Matt Gargan, is like pretty much, well, not spoiler, it's just Gargan, he's harassing Peter on the phone, I got your aunt, ha! And then you find out that Peter gave the money to the woman so that way they can get the happy ending for the kid.
All right, James. So, what are you thinking of Marvel Knights Spider-Man #7 and #8 here?
They're good. They're good, but I just gotta say, Angelino was a shitty villain, but that was the point. It was supposed to show you why Gargan is the second Venom. There's a storyline that it's kind of funny because Michelini, who created Venom, actually said this for years that he didn't like this idea of Gargan and Angelino and Flash Thompson becoming Venom. Because his whole point is the black suit became Venom because of Eddie Brock. But depending on who wears the black suit, they could be anybody. So he actually pitched before the Clone Saga got derailed a Eddie Brock storyline where it would be like the symbiote on bonds to him and it starts bonding with different hosts. And you just see how they're not Venom. They're different. They could be a superhero. They could be just a guy who has the black suit. And you kind of hear with Angelino where it's like, here he is. He's Venom. He's punched for the wall and he knows Peter works secret identity. And he fucking sucks and he's lame. He is so lame. And then to the point that the symbiote's like, fuck you, bye. As he dies. But it's a good panel. I quoted it, word from word. I love that line. You know what's your problem, Angelino? You just don't have enough Venom. And he drops to his death. I love that moment. The high school reunion is just really good because, like I said, it's weird. It's the thing that you want to see with Peter Parker. Him going back to his high school. It's a story that writes itself when you read the Stanley issues. The whole fact that Peter, if they only knew who I am, they make fun of me now, but wait 10 years when I'm adult and they'll be sorry. This is him coming back with the they'll be sorry when he's like, yeah, you're right, suck it. I got a hot redheaded wife and I'm successful while you're all losers still living in your high school memories. Suck it. Oh yeah, you're all dead by Venom. It's just, and none of you were Flash Thompson or Liz Allen because those are characters that people actually give a shit about. It's just weird. It's like having the high school reunion, but there's only 2 people we knew from his high school years. I guess if they wanted to, they could have thrown Jessica Jones because I think Bendis already retconned her in. But even then, that was really more of an Avengers Jessica Jones thing, not really a Spider-Man thing yet. So it was just really weird how it's like, remember this fucker from the background from Amazing Spider-Man #8? Yeah, they're dead now.
All right. But any other thoughts, James? And do you give this issue a thumbs up, or do you give these issues a thumbs up, sideways, down?
I give them both a thumbs up. They're really good. I got really not much to say, complain, and I really like how we're heading towards the end game. I like how you think this is its own arc by its own, but it still continues this thread that will go on to the 12-issue Mark Millar run on Marvel Knights.
All right, but my thoughts, I give these issues thumbs up as well. They're really, really good. The characterization, like I said before, is really on point. Peter Parker reacts, thinks, speaks, acts how I think he would. And so it just fits with me. I really agree with Mark Millar's take on the character. Angelo Fortunato, I agree with James, sucks as a villain, and I will never look at him.
But he was supposed to be. It's not like we're complaining he sucks. That was the point.
Yeah. But I will also never forgive James for ruining that character for me forever now.
We gotta do something. Or else, all we know he's the Batman villain. The son of the mobster who's not good enough to run the mob, so he becomes a supervillain to show his daddy wrong and he dies. That is a Batman thing. You know how I know? Because I read the Batman storyline where it happened 25,000 fucking times.
Alright, but
Long Halloween.
But I did like the high school reunion stuff. I thought it was good. I liked Peter's fight with Angelo, despite Angelo's overall suckiness as a villain. Something we haven't mentioned is that once again the artwork by Terry Dodson and Rachel Dodson and the colorists, whose names I'm forgetting at the moment. Let me look it up again. I'm sorry. Ian Hinnon and Laura Martin. Of course, they're really good. Frank Cho's style is really good. All the artwork is really strong throughout these issues. It breaks my heart that Mike McSwiggan is most likely no longer with us. That is heartbreaking for me to hear.
John had his first time he ever fell in love with a man, and he dies one page later.
Okay, I'm not even touching that one.
I meant like a bromance, like a man crush. I don't mean like you literally like you're gay for the guy, John.
All right, but once again, we are in full support of LGBT rights. LGBTQ
well,
rights,
I'm just confirming that I didn't mean it that way. I meant like you had a bromance for a character only for him to die. There's something wrong with that.
Mike McSwiggan, he understood me. He was my guy.
Marvel Knights, Mike McSwiggan.
Marvel Knights, Mike McSwiggan. He understood me. That was my guy right there. He took a piece of me with him. We will miss you,
John.
We will miss you, McSwiggan.
John, what you just said is 10 times worse than what I said. He will take a piece of me with him.
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it that way. The way you probably took it. It's just
to continue. I feel kind of bad that I didn't mention the art because the artwork is good. Like I mentioned last week, this art is when I think this era Spider-Man, that Marvel Knights, New Avengers, pre-Civil War but post Howard Mackie, run. This is when I think that artwork, when I think Peter Parker, MJ, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, even Venom a little bit because it's Gargan, most of it I associate with that look. This is what I think about. This is when I got onto Spider-Man. And Deodato's artwork's great, but Deodato was pretty much just picking actors and drawing them and making them, your characters. This was more just, modern day upping, the classic Spider-Man look, and I love this.
Yeah, it's really good. So I like the Venom fight. I thought that was really good. The part where he accidentally takes down the person who's dressed up as Spider-Man instead of the actual Spider-Man is that is a good twist for the issue, I think, and it's a good place.
First time I read it, I was like, what the fuck happened here?
Yeah,
I felt like, how do you explain Spider-Man getting his heart punched out, and then you see the next panel with the kids in the camera, like, we just wanted to get famous and collect the bounty. And it ties in what Peter said before. Jonah needs to stop this now before someone gets hurt. And somebody did get hurt. There are literally 3 dead bodies now because of this.
And so I thought that was a good way to lead into what Peter would do with supposedly revealing that John Jameson was Spider-Man. That is still ridiculous. And it's good that it was never touched again.
Peter could have picked anybody. Anybody. He picks the one guy who Jonah should immediately call bullshit on.
But that's really my only complaint of these 2 issues is that the John Jameson thing. But everything else is really good. I echo what James said about Mary Jane being really written really well and getting everyone out of the high school. I like that. And yeah, I think James said a lot of what I want to say. I like Peter giving the money to the mother so that she can pay for her sick kid's treatments. I like that a lot. That's
in character. This is in character for Spider-Man. He's guilty that he's giving a kid a second life because he had to lie to do it. That is Peter Parker in a nutshell.
Yeah, it echoes what I said before about Mark Millar understanding the character. So yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about these two issues. Thumbs up from me. Really, really good stuff. Really strong. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of the podcast because we got nothing else to talk about. That's the review done. Nothing else this week. So, James, any final shout-outs or words for the listeners before we sign off?
Not really much this week. Just, I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. We're getting close to Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or insert whatever holiday you believe in. There's a lot, and there's too many to name that I don't even know the names for, to be honest. So I'm just going to sum it up by saying happy holidays. Or if you don't want to celebrate anything for whatever reason, you don't have to. Just enjoy your couple days off you're going to get in December because of it. Enjoy life. Be awesome. Be cool.
All right,
don't be a clone though, because for a guy who loved the 90 Clone Saga, I'm really starting to die a little bit inside with what the Dan Slott thing is doing.
All right, my shout out this week: Marvel, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, Mark Millar, Terry Dodson, Frank Cho. Thank you for Spider-Man. Thank you for the comics we reviewed this week. Other shout outs: Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, even though it was 2 days ago. Other shout outs.
God, are you a depressing man, John? Happy Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to have nightmares now, James. Thank you so much.
John is going to be like next year or 2 years, when we do our annual commentaries we're planning on doing now for our anniversaries, when we one day do Spider-Man 3, anytime Eddie Brock appears in that movie, John's just going to break out laughing, even though it's Eddie Brock. But he's going to go, oh, yeah, he's going to lose it.
All right, but that's going to do it for this episode. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week. We'll finish up Marvel Knights next week. And then the week afterwards is Clone Conspiracy number 3. Yay. You can hear the hesitation in my voice. I'm not anxious for that to get here.
And that shot is nothing at Topher Grace. I mean, I like that 70s show, and I do like how they actually got a guy who is a Spider-Man fan to actually play a character in a Spider-Man movie. That was pretty awesome. So that wasn't a shot at Topher Grace when I made fun of Spider-Man 3 there. I made fun of the character of Eddie Brock in Spider-Man 3 there. There's a big difference.
All right, but thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all next week. Enjoy life. Enjoy life.